and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be going into detail on how to travel around Japan. In my previous video, I talked about the JR Pass and I promised to make another video to go a little bit more into detail on how to travel around Japan. So here it is, and we're going to go straight into the video. If you are a tourist and you're traveling to more than 2 Japanese cities, I would highly recommend you get a JR Pass. The typical route for people's first time to Japan is Tokyo, and then from Tokyo to Kyoto, Kyoto to Osaka, and then back to Tokyo, then to fly back home or on to their next destination. Typically, people can also fit in a few destinations along the way. If you're planning a trip similar to that, I would highly recommend getting a JR Pass because the cost savings is there as soon as you book 2 or more Shinkansen, which is also known as the bullet train. It's definitely worth it if you're going to get that more than twice. JR Pass is typically cheaper than just 2 individual bullet train tickets. Definitely I would recommend it if you're traveling to more than 2 cities. If you're just planning to stay in Tokyo, it's probably not worth it for you because the local trains are quite cheap and you're probably overpaying for something there. So it's important to bear that in mind. Not everybody needs a JR Pass. What is the JR Pass? It is a rail pass that gives you unlimited travel within Japan for whatever period you buy the JR Pass for. So it's available for 7 days, 14 days and 21 days. The JR Pass can come in a standard carriage, or there's also the green car, which is the premium carriage. I would actually recommend to get the green car. I did a lot of research on this before I traveled to Japan. After doing the trip, I think it's definitely worth it. The premium car is a lot more quiet, so you get a lot more space. It's just the configuration is 2 seats and 2 seats. So you get a lot more space and there's a lot more places to put your luggage. And typically you're on the bullet train for a long journey, so the extra space is definitely worth it.
I've attached here the price difference between the premium class and the ordinary class. For 7 days, the green class is £385, while the ordinary is £275. So it's about £100 difference there in price. With both classes, you still get unlimited travel all around Japan, free seat reservations, and obviously the bullet trains included. However, with the premium class, there's more privacy as there's less people in there. You get more space for your luggage. The seats are wider and bigger, and you get also extra amenities like a hot towel when you get on the train and food service. In the green car, the configuration is 2 seats and 2 seats. However, on the standard car is 3 seats and 2 seats. So that leaves a little bit less space in the standard car, and also the seats do recline a little bit more in the premium car.
Train seats in Japan are quite interesting because they spin around. If there's 4 of you, you can face each other, which is quite cool. If you are getting the JR Pass, you'll need to order it in advance, a minimum of 2 weeks in advance of your travel. That's because when you order the JR Pass on the website, they post you a voucher to your home address, and with that voucher you take that to Japan and get that exchanged for an actual JR Pass. So you need to make sure you order it in enough time for you to receive the voucher at home before you fly out. And you want to allow some extra time for any delays or missed deliveries or anything like that. That's why I say you want to give at least 2 weeks. So where do you pick up the JR Pass from when you're in Japan? You can do this at the airport as soon as you arrive. That's what I did. And you can book all your Shinkansen tickets right there when you pick up the pass. I had a bit of trouble before I went because I didn't know how I was going to book all these bullet trains, and there was a lot of mention about different apps or websites you can use to book your train tickets, and you can even use the ticket counters, which I'm no good with. But if you plan your trip to Japan in advance, know which days you need to go to which destinations, you can just book all those bullet trains right away when you're at the airport when you pick up your JR Pass. It's important to note that you don't have to activate the JR Pass on the day that you pick it up. So if you're picking it up for Monday, for example, and you only have a 7-day pass, but you need the pass from Wednesday to the following Wednesday, then you wouldn't activate it on that Monday. You would only activate it on the Wednesday. So it's important to bear that in mind. You don't have to use the JR Pass immediately as soon as you pick it up. It can be activated for a later date. whatever works best for your travel schedule. If you are planning to pick up the JR Pass from the airport, it's important to bear in mind your flight times and what time the JR ticket counter closes. So it's not a problem, because if you do miss it, you can't just pick it up in any other JR stations. But if you are relying on the JR Pass to get to your hotel and you didn't want to get an airport shuttle, it's important to make sure that you bear in mind the opening times. Let's talk a little bit about airport shuttle and other ways to get out of the airport into Japan when you first arrive. There are 2 airports in Tokyo, Narita and Haneda. Most people land into Narita. I think it's the same in Haneda, but I landed in Narita, so that's what I can speak for. There are 3 main modes of transport you can use to exit the airport and get to your hotel. The first one, and what we use, is going to be the airport limousine or the shuttle buses. So these are really, really convenient. They take all your luggage on the bus, and they're very, very cheap and affordable. And the stop is right in front of the airport. It's right at the entrance. So it's very accessible, and it's actually very easy to figure out your way around. It will usually drop you off at major places around Tokyo. So for us, we stayed at a hotel right near Tokyo Station, and that's where we were dropped off. In fact, we actually walked around on a bit of a detour because we were a little bit lost, but our hotel was right where they dropped us off. So they are very handy, and I would definitely recommend that. The next way you can get there is through a train, so you can use your JR Pass for that. When we arrived in Japan, the JR line was down, so we actually were not able to use the JR line. But we were really glad, because we had quite a few bags with us, and that would have been really, really difficult to maneuver on the trains if you have several bags with you. However, if you don't have too many bags on you, or even if you do have the bags, there is plenty of space on the train for your bags. It's just getting them on and off the train and carrying them around the station. That can be a little bit inconvenient. But if you do want to get the train and you have your JR Pass and you want to use it, that's definitely an option for you. And the station is right in the airport, and you can easily head on to your next destination. The staff at the JR station are really, really helpful, and they will direct you on where to go for your train. The next mode of transport is taxi. I would not recommend a taxi. It's extremely expensive, and it's very, very convenient to get public transport in Japan. So I don't think it's worth getting a taxi. So once you're in your hotel and you're ready to start your travel around Japan and sightsee a little bit, you can get local trains around Tokyo City. So one really important tip I need to tell you is that you can use your JR Pass within Tokyo. I don't think that this was conveyed to me when I was watching so many videos before I went, because I had no idea. And for the first few days in Tokyo, we were paying extra for trains that we didn't need to, because they were included on the JR Pass. And we did not know that the JR line even went there. It's important to know that the JR network has quite a few lines in Tokyo. One of them, and the main one that we used, is the Yamanote line. There's also the Chuo line and Ueno line. There's a few other ones, but the Yamanote line takes you to Shibuya, Shinjuku, Ueno. So you can get to quite a lot of the main attractions using your JR Pass. And if you don't mind a little bit of walking, you can actually probably travel around most of Tokyo with your JR Pass, all included in the pass. However, if you did want to get some other local trains, you can choose to get a Suica card. We did not get a Suica card because I was really confused on what to do, how to get it, how to top it up, and I was just really confused. But when we got to Japan, it was really, really easy to just buy each ticket for each train that we went on at the ticket counters with our cash. And you need to bear that in mind, that you need extra time to buy your ticket in advance if you're going to do it that way. But I know a lot of people get Suica cards and you preload them with money, and you can use them for all your different journeys within Tokyo. If you're like me and you're getting a bit confused with the Suica cards, you can just buy your tickets at the train station. If you are using your JR Pass, when you are within the station and about to go through the ticket machine to get onto your train, you need to remember to pick up your JR Pass after you've scanned it through. So you feed it through, and then you may need to remember to pick it up at the other end If you lose your JR pass, it does not get replaced and you can't even get one while you're in Japan. So you need to really look after it, make sure you don't lose it. You also need to make sure you carry your passport around with you at all times because it's linked to your JR pass. Another thing to note when you're traveling around Japan is that Japan is just so big. Everywhere is very far away. So you need to make sure you plan your trip and your itinerary in pockets of everything that's in each area, if that makes sense. You want to plan your itinerary in a way where everything you're doing is in that one area and then you're moving on to another area and then you're doing everything there. So you're not jumping from location to location because they are all quite far away. Another tip for traveling around Japan is to make sure you get to the train stations really early. The train stations are massive. I can't explain to you how big they are. It's like an airport. So to get from the entrance to whatever platform you're gonna be is gonna take you some time. So make sure you factor that in and you get to the train station at least 15 to 20 minutes in advance if it's a new station to you and you don't know where you're going. That is it from me. I hope you found that really helpful for your trip to Japan. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to help you out. See you in the next one.